At third base, it's Rod Conneal. Now Hook back to work, and he gets a foul strike for strike two. Shadow across the infield right in front of the pitcher's mound. Jay standing in brilliant sunlight. It's a warm day in the sunshine. Lights have been turned on. Of course, they have absolutely no effect in the outfield. Sun shining brightly there. In the outfield, Duke Snyder, Jim Hickman, and Eddie Kranepool, left to right. There's a swing and a miss at a fastball for strike three. So Jay Hook gets his first man on strikes, and the next batter will be Pete Rose. Rose, a switch hitter, will bat from the left-hand side. First game, he had 2 hits in 5 trips to the plate. Rose batting .267, and he looks at a fastball for strike one. One strike count. Jay Hook at the start of the second game. Mets need to win it to tie up the series. There's a curve. It's over. Strike two. Jay with a good rolling curveball. Jay with his first Major League victory of the '63 season against the Philadelphia Phillies. He helped his own cause. He doubled and was taken out for a pinch runner, and that was the winning run when the run scored. There's a pitch high tight. Spinning Rose around. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Hook back to work, and the pitch is just inside. Jay appears to be fast. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now the right-hander from Grays Lake, Illinois, into the windup. And the pitch back, a curve, it's outside. So Jay has a full count now to Pete Rose. The on-deck batter, Veda Pinson. Rose has hit 1 home run, and he has 6 runs batted in. This is his first Major League season. Now the 3-2 pitch. Bouncing ball hit down to second. Hunt comes in. He goes to first, underhanded in time for out number 2. And with 2 out, Veda Pinson comes up. Pinson had 1 hit in 5 trips to the plate in the first game, but he was the fielding star, making a great catch in center field to rob the Mets of at least 2 runs. Pinson batting .223, 1 home run, 11 runs batted in. And the left-hand batter fouls the first pitch in back of home plate out of play for strike one. Hook back to the plate, and he misses low. 1 ball and 1 strike. The on-deck batter, Frank Robinson. Now Hook at 1-1, and there's a fastball up around the shoulders for strike 2 called. One ball and 2 strikes. 2 men out. Top of the first inning, no score. Reds against the Mets, and now Hook back to work, and there's a curve that's outside. 2-2 now. Reds have finally reached the 500 mark. They have won 14 and lost 14. Now the next pitch, line to right field, the first base into the ball game. Pinson moving on down to first base. He holds there as Eddie Kranepool throws on in. That will bring up Frank Robinson. Robinson, a right-hand batter. He was 1 for 2 in the first game, reaching twice on a walk and a hit by pitch ball. Robinson batting .287. He leads the club in home runs with 6. He has 22 runs batted in. And the first pitch is swung on a miss for strike 1. Major League leader in home runs is Hank Aaron. He has 11. That's before today's action. So far, Aaron has not hit a home run in the ball game. Now Jay Hook in the set position. Pinson with a short lead at first. Hook now goes to first. Pinson gets back. Pinson, a very fast man. Probably as fast as anybody in baseball. Time called. Stan Landis behind home plate. Now time is in. Here goes Pinson, and there's a pitch high tight. The throw by Coleman. A perfect throw. He is out. Ron Hunt making a tag, and Choo-Choo Coleman now is throwing out 2 men in this doubleheader. He got Frank Robinson in the first game, and this time he got Veda Pinson. In the inning for the Reds, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, no one left. And the score after 1/2 inning to play. The Reds nothing, the New York Mets coming to bat. Largest selling there. Well, the Reds are out in the top of the first inning. They won the first game 3-0. And the Mets now will start off here in the bottom half of the first. It'll be Chico Fernandez, Ron Hunt, and Ed Kranepool. Fernandez making his second start for the Mets. He played in the first game at 5. He started the game at third base in the first game and was moved to short. In this game, he has started at shortstop. And Fernandez batting .333. Owens, the right-hander, 5'11", and the first pitch is a strike. The second pitch is a curve, and it's a swing and a miss for strike 2. The ball bouncing right in front of home plate, bounced up and hit the umpire behind home plate, Stan Landis, on the arm. So Owens, who is 29 years of age and who lives in Venice, Florida, has a 2-strike count now as he starts to work. He is 0-1 this year. There's a hard fastball up too high for ball 1. Last year he was with the Phillies. He was 2-4. He has a lifetime major league mark of 24-47. He has never beaten the Mets. He has never lost to them. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the pitch back is a fastball looked at for strike 3. So Owens picks up a strikeout as he works to his first man. And he has duplicated Jay Hook's performance. Jay struck out the leadoff man for the Reds. 1 out, and Ron Hunt comes to bat. Ron had 1 base hit and 3 times up in the first game. The base hit came in the 9th inning to keep the Mets' hopes alive. They had the time run at the plate but couldn't get him across as they lost 3-0. Hunt batting an even .299. The shadow that was in front of the pitcher's mound now has moved in back of it.
1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right off the top. In the old days, you'd call him an overhand pitcher. Then you would call his curveball an overhand drop. Nowadays, the vernacular has changed. It's just the curve, an overhand curve. Now the 2-0 pitch by Owens, and it's ball 3. So Ron Hunt is a pitch away from becoming the first base runner for the Mets here in the bottom half of the first. 1 out. There is no score in the game. The 3-0 pitch is inside and low for ball 4. So Ron Hunt gets first base free. The Mets have their first base runner, and Eddie Kranepool comes up. Kranepool 1 for 4. After Hunt had singled in the 9th inning, Eddie Kranepool coaxed a walk, put runners at first and second base and give the Mets a chance to tie, but they couldn't do it. pitch to him. He looks, it's outside for ball one. Now Jim Owen in the set position, and he comes to the plate low for ball two. Owens to Eddie Kranepool. This is the first time that Kranepool has faced Jim Owens in an official league game. Kranepool still with sponge on the bat portion where his top hand goes a bat. There goes the runner, a hit and run play. The throw to second base, not in time. Ron Hunt with a diving slide, beating the tag. The ball was dropped by the shortstop covering Leo Cardenas, but the sign was given by the umpire, even though Cardenas went through with the tag without the ball, of safe. Stolen base for Ron Hunt. Mets now have a base runner at second with one out. On the pitch, Kranepool tried to protect the runner by swinging at a pitch that was way outside. The catcher, Jesse Gonder, he made the throw. Now Jim Owen with one out, and the pitch back to Kranepool. Bounced out toward the pitcher's mound. The pitcher comes over and makes the play to first to Gordy Coleman. Kranepool trying to hold off. On the play, Ron Hunt moves over to third. That'll bring up Duke Snyder. Ron Hunt in sliding at second base on that head first slide evidently took some skin off his arm because he's down there showing Cookie Larvington, the third base coach. Ron is a mass of patches. He's really bruised and cut up from his aggressive type play. Duke Snyder batting with two men out. Duke in the first game had 2 hits and 4 times up. He's batting .238. And his first pitch is low for ball one. Low and outside. Gordy Coleman at first base, playing a deep first base. There's a changeup. It's over. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pete Rose at deep second base. Leo Cardenas moved around toward second base at short. And the third baseman, Eddie Casco, playing in fairly close. About 2 steps in front of the line running between second and third. Now the pitch to Snyder, and he takes outside for ball two. In the outfield, Jerry Lynch is in left center field. He's got a tough field to play right now. That sun is right over the top of home plate. Center field, Veda Pinson, and right field, Frank Robinson. Change of pace, a swing and a miss for strike 2. Jim Owens pulling the string on a fastball. Snyder with a big swing way out in front. The count now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ron Hunt at third base. 2 men out in the bottom of the first, no score. Now Jim Owen to work. And the pitch is just outside for ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The on-deck batter is Tim Harkness. Owens now swings and comes back to Snyder, and he's low for ball 4. So the Mets have their second base runner. They have picked up both runners on walks. And they have runners at first and third with Tim Harkness stepping in. Tim, a left-handed bat, and he had no hits in the first game. He is 0 for 3 in the doubleheader. He walked 1 time. His average now .212. Now time called as Jesse Gonder goes out to talk to Jim Owens. Twice Harkness had runners on base, and he grounded out sharply to the first baseman. Reds won the first game 3-0. Right here, there's no score. The Mets with a threat going. Runners at first and third. Reds have 2 men out. And the first pitch to Harkness. It's a strike called in the outside corner. Now Owen in the stretch position. And he steps off the pitching rubber. Jesse Garner gets down to give him another sign. On sets again. And the pitch has popped up down the third base side in foul territory. Eddie Casco going way out. A tough play, and he makes the catch. Taking the ball over his shoulder as he went away from the infield. That retires the side in the inning for the Mets. No runs, no hits. There were no errors. 2 walks and 2 men were left. And the score at the end of the first inning of play, the Reds nothing, the New York Mets nothing. Simply mailed the ticket manager, Polo Grounds, New York, 39, New York. It's the top of the second. The first man up is Frank Robinson. And the first pitch by Jay Hook is popped up high in the air, way up there in foul territory. Rod Canillo coming over by the box seats, and he is there, and he makes the catch. Oh, there's a high one and a good play by Rod Canillo. Robinson out on 1 pitch. And the batter will now be Jerry Lynch. Robinson, before fouling out, was batting .287. Here's Jerry Lynch, a .154 batter. Lynch in the first game was 0 for 2. He walked his first time up. There's the first pitch to Lynch. It's ball 1. One ball and no strikes. There's a high pop-up on the infield. Canillo again calling, shading from the sun. And he moves toward short, and he makes a tough catch. The ball moving over towards the shortstop position. Well, here's good news for all you Marv Throneberry fans. Listen to this. Oh, Marv has done it again. He's hit a home run in the second inning of the second game over at Little Rock. So he's hitting that ball again. Oh, Marv is in the lineup, so hang on to him. A lot of signs out here for Marv Throneberry. Now the batter, Gordy Coleman, and the first pitch is a curveball for strike 1. Coleman batting .204. He was 0 for 4 in the first game. Pitch back is looked at. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch outside. No score in this game, 2 men out. Reds batting in the top of the second. There's Hook with a pitch, and it's hit on the line to center field. Hickman comes in, now stops and makes the catch. So Jay has worked the 6 men so far in 2 innings. He has given up 1 hit. In the second inning, he was 1-2-3 to the Reds, and the score at the end, a 1.5 innings to play. The Reds nothing, the New York Mets nothing. It's the bottom half of the second inning. The Mets are coming to bat against Jim Owen. No score in the game, only 1 base hit. The Reds picked that one up when Veda Pinson singled to right field. He was thrown out on an attempted steal by Choo-Choo Coleman. Leading off for the Mets here in the second will be Jim Hickman. He'll be followed by Choo-Choo Coleman and then Rod Canillo. Jim, a right-hand batter, batting .250. He was 0 for 3 in the first game against Bob Perky. Perky, the winning pitcher, picking up his first Major League victory of the '63 season. And the first pitch to Hickman is on the outside corner, looked at for strike 1. Perky needed help from Henry. Henry came in for the bullpen to throw just 3 pitches. He struck out Duke Snyder. Duke was the tying run. That was the game for the Cincinnati Reds. They won it 3-0. Now the 1 strike pitch, an overhand curve that's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Owens back to Jim Hickman with a high pitch that comes up above the strike zone. 2 balls and 1 strike. Jim has a record of 0-1. His 1 loss to the Dodgers. He went 1 1/3 innings in that game, but there's a long story to that one. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Foul ball out of play. Owens started the ball game, and it was when they were calling the balk rule, so manager Freddie Hutchinson of the Reds said to Jim, I want you to set, not in 1 second, but I want you to set for 14 to 15 seconds. Owens would go to the set position and wait 15 seconds and then step off. Then he would come set again, wait 15 seconds, step off again. There's a pitch low to Hickman. It's a full count, 3-2. Then he would go to set position and throw to first base after 15 seconds. Well, this went on for about, well, I guess a half an hour, and everybody in the park was going out of their mind. And then Jim set and threw home, and they called a balk on him. He got kicked out of the ball game after 1 1/3 innings. Here's the 3-2 pitch, and there's a drive to right. It could go all the way, and there it goes. Hickman with a home run. That is Jim's 5th of the year. He has now tied Duke Snyder for the club's leadership, and the Mets have scored their first run of the afternoon. They were shut out in the first game for 9 innings, and then 1 inning here by Jim Owens. The Mets lead 1-0, and here's Choo-Choo Coleman. Pitch is a called strike, a curveball over at the knees. That ball hit off of the glove of a fan in the upper deck and dropped right down below on the ramp just below the upper deck. A big hit to right center field. Now the 1-strike pitch. It's high for ball 1. Coleman moving around to throw the bunt, taking for a 1-1 count. Mets out in front for the first time today against the Reds. Now the 1-1 pitch. A bunt. It's bunted hard to second base. He takes it on the first hop. Throws the first just in time. That ball was bunted very hard. Pete Rose came in and took it on 1 hop about halfway between the grass in the infield and the grass in the outfield, and had to throw in a hurry to get Coleman at first. That is the first out here in the bottom half of the second, and Rod Keneal comes up. And the first pitch to Rod is sliced to right, but it curves foul. Rod appeared in the first game as a pinch hitter. He hit into a force play. He stayed in the ball game and then struck out. So he is 0 for 2 for the day, and he's batting 167. There's a bouncing ball to short, a 2-hopper. Cardenas up with it, over to first, out number 2. And with 2 out, Jay Hook will come up. Jay is a left-handed batter, and he has 2 hits. 11 trips to the plate. One of them a 2-base hit that won him a ball game. Against the Phillies, he led off in the 9th inning and hit a ball down the right field side. The right fielder hesitated in making the play, and Jay tried to stretch it into a double. He made it, beating the throw with a good slide. First pitch to Hook is high. Hook was taken out for a pinch runner, and Al Jackson, who ran for him, later scored. Rod Keneal, I should say, later scored for the winning run of the game. Here's a pitch back to Hook. It's ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Thinking of Al Jackson, he scored the winning run on a wild pitch in a ball game, also as a pinch runner. 1-0. The Mets lead in the bottom half of the second. There's a strike. 2 and 1 strike now as Jim Owens works to Jay Hook. Now the right-hander comes back to work, and it's in there for strike 2. Fastball at the knees on the inside corner. That's 1 run on 1 hit. The Reds have no runs and 1 hit. The 2-2 pitch is bounced down toward third. It's going to go deep to short. Picked up by Cardenas. He has no throw. Third baseman Eddie Casco tried to get to that ball. It went on by. Cardenas came over and fielded the ball back in the grass in deep shortstop. He made no effort to throw. He had no chance. A base hit. Second hit for the Mets, and now the batter coming up will be the shortstop Chico Fernandez. Fernandez struck out his first time up. He's now batting .286. And he swings and foul tips the first pitch into the catcher's glove for strike 1. Jay Hook not being held on at first. The outfield plane shallow in center field, straight away all the way around. Fernandez looks at the next curveball. 1 ball and 1 strike. One nothing game. The Mets lead the bottom half of the second. 2 men out. And Fernandez swings and misses again for strike 2. The first game was won by the Reds by a score of 3-0. So the Mets need this one to split the series. Mets have never defeated the Reds in Crosley Field. They've done well against them here at the Polo Grounds. Curveball bounced in the dirt. It gets by the catcher, goes over toward the dugout. It goes in the dugout, and Jay Hook holds at second base. The grounds rule stating that you get the base you're going to. Jay moves on down to second base in scoring territory. Jay might have possibly had a chance to go to third if the ball had not gone in the dugout. Sort of questionable whether he would have tried with 2 men out. Count now, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And the pitch, it's low by the catcher again, and Hook goes to third. He rounds there. He's going to try. Here comes the play. He falls down, and he is out. Jay Hook fell down just about 20 feet from home plate. He would have not made it anyway. The throw got to the plate ahead of him, and Jay is out. If you're scoring, it's a pass ball, and the play was completed from the catcher, 2-1. Pass ball allowing Jay Hook to get to third base. In the inning for the Mets, they score 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and no one was left on. And the score at the end of 2, the Mets won, the Reds nothing. New York 39, New York. Right here, here's the first pitch to Jesse Garner. A line shot off the glove of Hunt. He picks it up, throws it out. Jesse Garner hit a line shot on the first pitch off Jay Hook. That looked as though it was going to go into right field for a base hit. Ron Hunt jumped high in the air, got his glove on the ball, knocked it down. The ball dropped right near him. He picked it up and threw Garner out. Out number 1. Now Choo-Choo Goldman talking to Jay Hook and Chico Fernandez on the mound. Other scores in the American League: Kansas City defeated Minnesota 2-1. The winning pitcher Wickersham, no home runs in that one. The second game was postponed because of rain. Now Jay Hook looking at his next man. It's Eddie Casco. Here's the first pitch to Casco, a right-hand batter. Strike call, a fastball through. Chicago defeated L.A. by a big score, 14-2. Bazard, a 9-hitter for the winning pitcher. Gene Chance, a loser. Here's Hook back, and there's a curveball popped up toward first base. Tim Harkness in foul territory, and he makes the catch. 2 men out now. In the second game at Chicago, the Angels are sending Turney to the mound against Joel Horland. And the Cleveland Indians lead Detroit after 8.5 innings by a score of 9-2. McDowell working for the Indians and Lolich now in for Detroit. Burton and Triando's home runs in that game. Right here, the score 1-0, the Mets lead. It's the top of the third, 2 men out. And the batter will be Jim Owens. Owens, a right-hand batter, and he looks for strike one. Now Hook back to the plate again, and there's a fastball for strike two. Owens is 0 for 2 so far this year. Two-strike pitch, a curve bounce in the dirt. Ball bouncing up. Choo-Choo Coleman losing his mask as he tried to block the ball. No one on base. Mainly because of a great play by Ron Hunt at second base. Reds have one base hit. Vada Pinson picked that one up. Jay Hook has struck out one man, walked none. And he now comes back at 1-2. Curve, and he struck him out. Curveball in the outside corner. That is strikeout number 2 for Jay Hook in the game. And for the third time in 3 innings, the side is retired 1-2-3. The score at the end of 3 innings of play, the Reds nothing, the New York Mets 192 for a total attendance of 21,291. Another fine crowd in hand. The Mets playing their final game of this series. There's the first pitch now to Chico Fernandez. A foul ball hit on the first pitch by Jim Owens. Ball going out of play. Fernandez left at the plate when Jay Hook tried to score from second base in a pass ball. The pitch back to Fernandez. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pitch was low. Count on Fernandez when Jay tried to come around was 2-2. The pitch, a pass ball, was a ball, which gave him a full count at 3-2. There's a curve inside, and the count now 2 balls and 1 strike. Jay Hook had singled, gone to second on a wild pitch, and he tried to score from second base on the pass ball. Now Jim Owens, a right-hander with a 2-1 pitch. And a fastball is high for ball 3. Three balls and 1 strike. And Fernandez looks at a fastball outside. It's ball 4. Walk number 3 that the Mets have received off Jim Owens. And it brings up Ron Hunt. Ron walked his first time up and went to second on a stolen base. He's batting .299. Fernandez now batting .286. 2 hits and 7 trips to the plate for the Mets officially. Hunt has 23 hits in 77 appearances. He's a right-hand batter, and here's the pitch by Owens. It's looked at, it's ball 1. Third baseman Eddie Casco playing shallow but not charging in case of a bunt. He is shortened up, but Hunt on the first pitch was hitting away. Mets lead 1-0, bottom half of the third, no one out. They lost the first game 3-0. Now the pitch back, it's low again for ball 2. And Jim Owens asking for a new ball. Jesse Gonder walking the ball back to the mound. He's the fellow that Ron Hunt robbed of a base hit in the third inning. Grandstand shadow has moved on out now, and 3/4 of the infield is in shadow. The shortstop position is still in bright sunlight. Outfield in center, and left field in bright sunlight. Here goes the runner, and the pitch is hit deep to left field. Way back there. Lynch is going back. He's by the wall, and he makes the catch. All past second base is the runner. He goes on back to second, tags up, goes into first. Chico Fernandez had rounded second base, was about 5 steps on the other side of second when Jerry Lynch hauled that ball down in deep left field. Lynch got the ball a step away from the wall and ran into the wall. So Ron Hunt, a real bid for an extra base hit, is out on a great play by Jerry Lynch. One out now, and the batter coming up is Ed Kranepool. Boy, the Mets have hit the ball well here, but they sure have been robbed of base hits. Kranepool robbed of a double at least by Veda Pinson in the first game. There's a slow curve in the dirt that's blocked by Jesse Gonder. The ball on Kranepool was way out in left center field. Pinson made the catch and kept 2 runs from scoring. Kranepool batting .247. He bounced back to the pitcher in a check swing his first time up in this game. And the pitch back is line to left, the base hit. Rounding at second base is Chico Fernandez. Going to second, Eddie Kranepool. Here comes Fernandez. He's going to try. The throw does not come on in. Eddie Kranepool sliced a double to left field, a line shot by the third baseman. Ball was played off the wall by Jerry Lynch. Fernandez, who was on first base, rounded third and scored all the way. Moving on down to second base on the double is Eddie Kranepool. Mets lead 2-0, and Duke Snyder has come to bat. And the pitch is high for ball 1. Mets now exciting the crowd. Let's go Mets, they say. Now here's Jim Owens back to the plate. Snyder takes the ball, gets away from the catcher, and Kranepool moves to third. That'll be scored a pass ball. That pitch was almost right over the heart of the plate. Gonder evidently was looking for a curve. He boxed the ball. The ball bounced off his glove and rolled off to the right side. Kranepool had no trouble going to third. It's a pass ball. The second one in the game. And the infield has been pulled in. With a windup and back to Snyder. He's low for ball 2. Duke walked his first time up. He's batting .238. The pitch back is swung on and missed for strike 2. Third baseman, shortstop, second baseman, and first baseman all playing in. Trying to cut off the possible run. Eddie Kranepool on at third. Mets lead on 2 runs. Here's the pitch to Snyder. He takes outside. That fills it out at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Here's the windup and the pitch to Snyder. It's low in the dirt, dug out by Gonder, ball 4. Fourth walk issued by Jim Owens. And now the bullpen phone for the Cincinnati Reds is ringing away. Runners at first and third. 1 man out. The batter is Tim Harkness. Tim fouled out his first time up. He's a left-hand batter. The infield has been moved back. They'll try for the double play. Pitch back is a change. Drilled to right field, right down the line. It is off the wall. Scoring is Cranepool. Going to third is Duke Snyder, and Harkness has to hold at first. Now lead at 3-0, and they have runners at first and third again. That ball was hit so hard right down the right field line that Harkness had no chance to try for two. Frank Robinson played the carom perfectly, and he picked the ball up about 120 feet from where it hit on the wall. Ball coming off the wall at such speed. Here's Jim Hickman, whose home run put the Mets on top for the first time today in the second inning. Jim picking up his fifth home run. A throw to first base, but Harkness gets back. Now Owen sets again. And the pitch is a check swing foul ball. Jim on a change of pace couldn't get his bat off the ball. He does that so many times. Strike one. Infield still back, trying for a possible double play. Set again. Dick Snyder at third base. Here's the pitch. Curveball in the dirt. Dug out by Jesse Gonder. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two runs in here in the third. The Mets batting with 1 out. Now the right-hander comes back to the plate, and there's a fastball. A swing and a miss for strike 2. Hickman with a good swing. Jim is batting .259. He has 5 home runs and 19 runs batted in. He is tied for the club leadership in home runs. He leads the club in RBIs. Now the pitch back to Hickman. It's low for ball 2. Slider low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. With a 2-2 count, and there's a ball drilled to left, the base hit. Snyder scores, and holding at second base as the throw comes into third is Tim Harkness. Here comes Freddie Hutchinson. Mets have the lead now by 4-0 score as Jim Hickman picks up his second run batted into the day. And Freddie Hutchinson comes to the mound. Mets started the inning off with a walk. Chico Fernandez picking the walk up. Then Ron Hunt hit one deep to left field that Jerry Lynch caught right against the wall. Fernandez, who was on first base, had rounded second. The ball was hit that far, and he had to scamper on back to first base. After the catch by Jerry Lynch on Hunt, Ed Cranepool came through with a double off the left field wall, and that scored Fernandez all the way from first base. Cranepool moved to third base on a pass ball. Then Duke Snyder walked, and Cranepool scored when Tim Harkness singled to right field. The single was a line shot off of the wall. Snyder moved over to third base, and he has just scored on a base hit by Jim Hickman to left field. Harkness, who was on first base before the hit by Hickman, moved on down to second, and that's the way they are. Runners at first and second, and coming in from the bullpen is John Sator.
Cincinnati, number 38, John Sator. Number 38.
So Jim Owens goes out of the game. He has officially worked 2 1/3 innings. He has been charged so far with 4 runs. He has given up a total of 5 base hits. He struck out 1 and walked 4 in his tenure. John Satoris, all set to go. He's 6 foot tall, 175 pounds. He was acquired in a deal that saw Joe Nuxall go to Kansas City, and Nuxall eventually got back to Cincinnati. Satoris will work the Choo-Choo Coleman. Mets lead 4-0 here in the bottom of the third, and the first pitch by the right-hander's high for ball one. Coleman 0 for 1 in the game. He tried to beat out a bunt, was thrown out by the second baseman. Runners at first and second. One man out, and here's the pitch back to Coleman. It's low, blocked by Jesse Garner, ball two. Now the right-hander back and again outside for ball three. Garner's really had his work cut out for him today behind home plate. He's been all over the place. 2 pass balls, 1 wild pitch, and he has been boxing the ball around, and the pitchers have been really... Now the right-hander back and again outside for ball three. Garner's really had his work cut out for him today behind home plate. He's been all over the place. 2 pass balls, 1 wild pitch, and he has been boxing the ball around, and the pitchers have been really wild for him. He's been digging them out of the dirt, moving around all over. 3 balls and no strikes. A pitch away from the bases loaded, and there's the pitch, a strike call. Mets with 3 in. They have runners at first and second. Now Satoris sets again. And there's a strike for strike 2. Coleman started to go, then held up. And the count goes full. The on-deck batter is Rod Keneal. Well, Coleman's a fast man. He doesn't hit into too many double plays. See whether or not Casey Stengel puts on the hit and run. Here's the 3-2 pitch. The runners don't go. It's outside for ball 4. The bases are loaded. The 5th walk for the Mets. They have received 3 here in this inning, and the batter is Rod Keneal. Rod grounded out the short in his first time up. He's batting .154. Mets have 4 runs on 5 hits. The Reds have no runs and 1 hit. Satoris, a long way now, goes into the windup. Here's the pitch. It hits him, and that drives in another run. Tim Harkness forced across from third base. The Mets now lead 5-0. Well, I'm sure that's one time that Rod doesn't mind being hit by a pitch ball. It got him an RBI. And Gus Marsh has just returned from checking Rod out. He's okay. That ball hit him in the back. Bases still loaded. Moving to third base is Jim Hickman. The second base, Choo-Choo Coleman. Rod Keneal on at first, and the batter is Jay Hook. Infield pulled in on the left side. The second baseman is back. Still only 1 man out. Jay, the 9th man to bat here in this inning. Now Satoris takes too much time, so Jay Hook steps out of the batter's box. Hook had a base hit his first time up, his 3rd of the year. Here's the windup and the pitch to the left-hand batter. Outside for ball 1. Gordy Coleman in front of the runner at first. Here's the windup and the pitch again. It's on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets with 5 runs on 5 hits. The Reds have no runs and only 1 hit. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning, 1 man out. Now the 1-1 pitch. A swing and a foul tip. 1 ball and 2 strikes. $21,291 fans here at the Polo Grounds. Large majority saying, let's go Mets. A new ball in play. Satoris with the sign. Here's the windup and the 1-2 pitch. A swing and a miss for strike 3. And while we wait for Chico Fernandez to come to bat, we'll pause for station identification.
You're tuned to WGY Schenectady, your New York Met station. The time is 6:31, the temperature 59 degrees.
Bases still loaded. This is Ralph Kiner along with Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy from the Polo Grounds. The Mets on top 5-0. And the first pitch to Fernandez, a fastball for strike 1. Chico, the 10th man to bat against the Reds here in this inning. Chico led off the inning with a walk and scored the 2nd run of the game. And the pitch back to Chico is swung on a miss for strike 2. John Satoris with a 2-strike count. Here's the pitch. And it's on the outside corner for strike 3. So Satoris, after walking a man and getting one to first base by a hit by pitch ball, strikes out 2 in a row to retire the side. In the inning, the Mets send 10 men to the plate, and they score 4 runs. They had a total of 3 base hits, and they left 3 men on. And the score at the end of 3 innings of play, the Mets 5, the Cincinnati Reds nothing. For the 4th, here is Lindsey Nelson.
Okay, Ralph Cannon, thank you very much. And here's Leo Cardenas to lead off for the Cincinnati Reds. Jay Hook on the mound for the Mets has been staked to a 5-run lead now. Cardenas has been up 1 time in this game, and he struck out swinging. He was the hero for Cincinnati of their victory in the first game of today's doubleheader. Here's a pitch inside for ball. It was Cardenas who delivered the inside-the-park home run that accounted for all 3 of the runs scored in the first game as the Reds won by a score of 3-0 behind Bob Perky. It's a swing and a drive deep to left. Going. It's up there and it's gone for a home run for Cardenas. So it's his 2nd home run of the day. His 3rd home run of the season. And it is 5-1 now. Into the upper deck in left field. Well belted. Fellow weighs about 150 pounds, and he gets lots of power out of that frame. Here's Pete Rose up. Pete's switch hitter, so he's batting left against right-handed Jay Hook. Rose been up 1 time, grounded out 2nd to 1st. His pitch is a little tight, and it's ball 1. Stan Landis is the umpire behind the plate for this 2nd game. Pitch is low for ball. 2-0. Jay Hook with a wind-up and pitch that's in there for a called strike. 2-1. The Mets with an infield this game of Tim Harkness at first, Ron Hunt at 2nd, Chico Fernandez at short, and Rod Kinneal at 3rd. There's a little never foul right down onto the foot of Pete Rose. So he limps around a little to get the circulation started once again. The count has run out even to him now at 2-2. This doubleheader concluding the current homestand of the New York Mets. Pitch is high for ball. It's been a highly exciting and successful homestand. The count is full here to Rose now at 3-2 as Jay Hook gets the sign. The payout pitch on the way. A little tight in the walking. That is the first walk given up by Hook. And it will bring up Veda Pinson with nobody out and a runner at first. Pinson has been up one time, single to right. Charlie Neal has not seen action in today's doubleheader. Bothered by, well, actually a sore toe on his right foot and couldn't get his shoe on comfortably, and so he has seen no action today. Swinging a drive that is going on to center field for a base hit. Hickman is over up with it. Rose is on his way to third. He'll go there easily. The relay comes to Hunt, and on at first base is Veda Pinson. Ron Hunt dived and landed on his chest in an attempt to get that one. So there are runners at first and third with nobody out, and Frank Robinson coming up. Mets lead by a score of 5-1. Robinson's been up one time, and he fouled out to third base, and now there's action, and it's Ken McKenzie throwing in the bullpen for the Mets. McKenzie's a left-hander. He has been the Mets' most effective relief hurler this season. Low and away for ball one. Throw to first is not in time. Pinson at first, Rose at third. We're in top half of the fourth inning. Trying a ground ball to third, taken deep by Keneal. Can't find the handle, throws to second. He's out at second base, and a run has scored as Rose crosses the plate. Rod Keneal knocked the hard ground ball down, couldn't find the handle for a moment, and then fired it on over to Hunt in time to force Pinson. Robinson gets a run batted in as Rose crossed the plate. One man out. The score is 5-2 now. Jerry Lynch is coming up. Been up one time, and he popped out to third base. Left-hand batter. Jay Hunt in a set position. Robinson takes his lead, and here's the pitch. It's in there for a called strike to Jerry Lynch. Duke Snyder checking the sunglasses out there in left. Now shades his eyes a moment, just testing it a little bit. Here's a throw to first, not in time. Another throw over, not in time. Snyder again checking those glasses. Here's a pitch high. I am told by fellas like Ralph Kiner, who have made a living out there in left field, that this is just about the toughest time of day.
Lindsey, it is really difficult right now because that sun hangs right over the top of the grandstand. Any ball that's hit on not a real high trajectory is really tough. It's almost impossible.
All right, Hook is checking now, and here's the pitch. It is swung on. Here's a fly ball to Snyder in left field. Hickman is coming over. And who's going to take it, fellas? Hickman's going to take it because he's coming across, and he does. He had the sunglasses down, too. But he was running cross from center and took it for the out. No advance by Robinson at first as Snyder was coming straight in, and Hickman was cutting across and took it. So there are two men out. Gordon Coleman will be coming up. He goes out now to get the helmet that was left out there, thrown by Robinson, first base, actually. Gordon Coleman's been up one time, and he flied out to center. Here's a swing and a long drive to center. Hickman ranging back, and he puts it away for the out. So Gordon Coleman got a hold of that and drove it to deep center, and in the top of the fourth, the Reds got 2 runs on 2 hits. There were no errors and 1 left. At the end of 3 1/2, it's the Mets 5, the Reds 2. We'll be going to the bottom half of the fourth inning, and Ron Hunt will lead off for the Mets. And warming up, John Saturis just fired one completely over the head of Jesse Gungor that banged up against the backstop. And now Hunt steps into the batter's box. Ron has walked and flied to left thus far in this ball game. He has a batting average of .295. And here's the windup. Pitch is swung on and missed, strike one. The official Met mascot, Homer, has just been on TV down in the stands, and it got a lot of attention, including attention to the Cincinnati dugout as all the necks were craned out. Here's a pitch high. It's 1-1 to see what was going on. Tom Sonny is throwing in the bullpen again for the Cincinnati Reds. Swinging a foul pop coming back. It's out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Count to Hunt leading off for the Mets in the bottom half of the 4th inning. John Centuris working in relief of Jim Owens here. Ed Cranepool is waiting around on deck. Here's a 1-2 pitch. It's high for a ball. 2-2. Gee, has that Cranepool ever been in the newspapers lately? Especially today. He's featured in at least 2 newspapers that I saw. Here's a pitch that's outside for a ball. It's 3-2. Had a notion, didn't go, and it's out full now, 3-2. The tourist looking into Jesse Gonder to get a sign. And here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, and there's a high pop near the mound. Casco's coming, so's Coleman. Nobody gets it. It's a base hit. It falls squarely in the center of the triangle formed by Casco, Coleman, and Gonder. It is a base hit for Ron Hutt. So the Mets get a base runner, and that will bring up Cranepool. He had a double to left to drive in a run in the bottom half of the 3rd inning when the Mets scored a total of 4 runs. It had a long drive to center field in the first game with 2 men on, and Veda Benson went back to rob him. And it took all the speed out of Veda Benson to get back there. The tourist checks as Hunt leads off the bag at first, and Cranepool squares to bunt, takes inside for ball 1. Nobody out for the Mets, batting here in the bottom half of the 4th. Hunt leads, the throw over is not in time. The pitch, swung on and tossed it deep to right, going back is Frank Robinson. It's way back there, and he can't get to it. 1 hop to the wall. Hunt is rounding 3rd. He will score. Cranepool is rounding 3rd, and he is being held up as the ball is being run back to the infield by the relay man, second baseman Pete Rose. It's a triple and a run batted in. What a wallop. What a wallop by Ed Cranepool, and we got a fellow here in the booth who used to wallop him a long, long ways in his National League career, so we want to get an opinion and a description from Ralph Kiner.
You know, you keep looking at this guy, and you just can't believe it. He hit that ball, a breaking pitch, as hard as you could hit it. He's got a beautiful swing. I don't know how he can miss being one of the real great hitters of baseball.
All right, here's Snyder up there, and the pitch is high for a ball. Tries the fastball. The Mets lead by a score of 6-2, and as Ralph Kiner said, he hit that with a country mile. Robinson is a fast man, and he was off and running, but he didn't get close to it. Here's the pitch in there for a called strike to Snyder. It took 1 hop to the wall just to the right of the bleacher section in right center field. Well out beyond the bullpen in right center, just where the bleachers join the stands. It's a swing and a foul ball, back and out of play. 1-2, the count now to Duke Snyder. Cincinnati Reds have the infield in, nobody out. Jesse Gonder rubbing up the ball. So Cranepool in this game has a double and a triple and 2 runs batted in. John Saturas gets the sign. Cranepool leaps down the line. Here's the windup. The pitch hits in the dirt, blocked by Jesse Gonder. 2-2 to Snyder. The Duke's been up twice and walked both times. Snyder swings the bat as he waits. Saturas winds and fires. Pitch is swung. It's a ground ball taken by Rose. Holds the runner. Throws to first in time. Nice catch by Rose with the infield in like that. It's a tough chance. But he managed to spear it, and Cranepool, of course, held up at third, making it be through from that position. And here is Harkness coming up. Harkness singled, driving a run, single off the wall in right field in the bottom half of the third. Hard hit ball. Otherwise fouled out to third base. He's 1 for 2 in this game. The Reds keep the infield in with 1 man on the runner at third. Jim Harkness, left-hand batter. Here's the pitch. Fastball in there for a called strike. Jim Hickman is on deck now for the Mets. The Mets 6 and the Reds 2. Second game of a doubleheader. The Reds won the first game by a score of 3-0. Saturas taking a long time to get us on. Starts the motion. Pitch is swung on. It's a ground ball foul. Down back to first base and on down the line. 2 strike count. Now to Tim Harkness. Sends Cranepool back to third. The big bear, Fred Hutchinson, in the corner of the dugout. Pacing here, pacing there, on one foot, on the other. He does a lot of moving in the course of a ball game. And if he's behind like he is now, he's not the easiest man in the world to get along with. Here's the windup and the 2-strike pitch. A little tight. It's 1-2. Mets have 7 hits to this point. Here's a pitch, and it's high and away. Evens the count at 2-2. Ramzani continues to throw in the bullpen of the Reds. And here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, it's a hop to short center. Cardenas digs out. Cardenas takes it in short center. Cranepool comes out to draw a throw and holds. There is no throw as Cardenas runs it back to the infield. No advance. So Harkness has popped out to Cardenas, who took it in short center, and that'll bring up Jim Hickman with 2 men out. Hickman has hit a home run to right and single to left. He has driven in 2 runs in this ball game, so that Hickman now has driven in 20. To lead the New York Mets in that department, he has 5 home runs. He is tied with Duke Snyder in the home run department as far as the Mets are concerned. Saturas winds and fires. It's in there for a called strike. Hickman has been something of a streak hitter. When he's been hot, he's been red hot. So maybe this is his day. Saturas again. Pitch is in there for a called strike 2. Reds, of course, and playing the infield now at normal depth with 2 men out. Cranepool leads down the line at third, and here's a 2-strike pitch. Swung on, and there's a bloop on one hop to Rose at second. Plays over to first in time. Hickman has grounded out. So in the bottom half of the fourth, the Mets got 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left. At the end of 4, it's the Mets 6 and the Reds 2. And right now, let's take a look at scores. In the National League, first game of a doubleheader, the Phillies defeated the Milwaukee Braves by a score of 4-3. Motion was the winner in relief, as the Phillies pushed one across in the bottom half of the 11th to win it, and Cloninger was the loser. Clay Dalrymple and Wes Covington hit home runs for the Phils. The second game is now going to the 4th inning, and the Phils are leading by a score of 3-0. Bob Henley started for Milwaukee, Frank Funk in the second, Ray Culp started for the Phils, and Jack Hamilton in the 4th. Kansas City A's defeated the Minnesota Twins 2-1 as Wickersham was the winner and Perry the loser. Second game, Rockow and Cott, the pitchers, but it's been postponed because of rain. Here's the first pitch to Jesse Gonder, and it's low for a ball. Larry Burright is now playing third base for the New York Mets in place of Rod Keneal. Burright at third. Here's the pitch to Gonder, and it's in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. Jay Hook starts the motion, and the pitch is outside for a ball.
Attention, please. In the 6th inning of the first game, and running down the first from the double play, Keneal jammed his ankle and is now starting to pump up, which is the reason he's replaced by Burright.
And the pitch to Gonder, swung on line in the center field. He can hit the baseball. No question of that. Hickman up with it, relays it down, and Jesse Gonder turns and holds with a single to center. That'll bring up Eddie Casco. The word from the Met locker room is that Rod Keneal jammed an ankle in a rundown in the 6th inning of the first game, and it's begun to swell on him, and that's why he has been replaced by Larry Burright at third base. Burright has never played third base before. This is his first time at the position. Pitch is bunted, foul. Choo-Choo dives and can't get it. Bunted sort of up into the air, and Choo-Choo Coleman dived, landed on his chest. He's getting a hand from the fans here. And right now, in order to allow our stations to identify themselves, we pause now for station identification.
You're tuned to WGY Schenectady, your New York Met station. The time 1 minute before 7, the temperature 59 degrees.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy here at the Polo Grounds. Strike one is the count to Eddie Casco. The Mets are leading in this game by a score of 6-2, and the Reds are batting in the top half of the 5th inning. Reds won the first game 3-0. Pitch is low and away. And Marty Keogh is swinging a bat on deck now for the Reds, with John Saturas due up next. Marty Keogh is out there on deck. Dime Sandy is throwing in the bullpen. Jay Hook taking his time. There's a pitch swung on, and it's a drive down the right field line if it stays fair, but it doesn't. It's off the scoreboard and a foul ball. So it is a 2-strike count now to Casco. In the American League, the Chicago White Sox beat the Los Angeles Angels 14-2 in the first game of doubleheader. Bazard went all the way to get the victory. Chance started and was the loser. In the second game, at the end of 2 innings, it's the White Sox 4, the Angels 3. Turley started for the Angels, Fowler in the first. Orland started for the White Sox, Bauman in the first. Here's a pitch outside for a ball. Two and two to Eddie Casco. The Mets 6, the Reds 2. Swing and a miss. He tried to check it, but umpire Stan Landis said he took it around, and Casco doesn't think so, and he is questioning the call. But you can chalk it up as the 3rd strikeout of the day for Jay Hook, and it will bring up Marty Keogh batting for John Saturas.
Number 25.
There's the announcement. Keogh is batting 103. He's been up 29 times and has 3 hits. Left-hand batter, and the pitch is outside. Came to the major leagues with the Boston Red Sox. He was initially signed for $100,000. Marty Keogh. Jay Hook is up now and set. Gonder leads. Not going. Here's a pitch swung on. That's holding up it on the first baseline. Jay Hook takes it underhands at the first in time, and Gonder moves to second. 2 men out. That will bring up Leo Cardenas. He's been the big man at the plate today for the Cincinnati Reds. He had an inside-the-park home run with 2 men on in the first game to account for all 3 runs that were scored in that game. He had a home run into the upper deck in left field in the top half of the 4th inning of this game. Cardenas is hitting .280 for the season. Again, Jay Hook is checking. Pitch is swung on, and it's belted out into right field in there for a base hit. Gone to round third. He's coming home. Crane pulled up with it, plays it back in. And Cardenas turns and holds with a single to right and a run batted in. His second hit of this game. Makes it the Mets 6, the Reds 3, and Pete Rose is coming up. 2 men out and the runner at first. Rose grounded out second to first and walked. So the Reds are not being held in check by any manner of means as they peck away at the lead of the Mets. And that pitch is high and away for ball. Hook leans way over this time to get his sign. It's in there for a call strike to Pete Rose. Rose is 21 years of age, and he has a batting average right now of .263. In his freshman year in the major leagues, he played last year at Macon in the Sally League. Foul ball, chopped off. 1 and 2. He is not, by any manner of means, the first man ever to make the jump from the Sally League to the majors, although it is a long jump. A fellow named Henry Aaron did it. Count is 1 and 2 to Rose. Breaking ball swung on, and it's a line drive into center for a base hit. Hickman up with it, relays it in. Leo Cardenas moves to second and holds there. And we're going to get action in the Met bullpen now. Left-hander Ken McKenzie's up and throwing again. Reds have 3 hits and 1 run here in the top half of the 5th inning, and Veda Pinson is coming up. There is a conference at the mound. The Reds have reached the situation here of tying run at the plate. The Mets lead by a score of 6-3. Benson has been up twice and has 2 hits in this game. Jay Hook is set. And the pitch is outside for ball. Casey, of course, wants to leave Hook in there, at least through this inning, if he possibly can, give him a chance to pick up the victory. Here's the pitch swung on, belted deep to right, and it's going to be a home run, and the score is tied. A 3-run homer on a line into the lower deck in right field by Veda Pinson, and it's a 6-6 ball game. Cardenas has crossed the plate, Rose has crossed the plate, and Veda Pinson has crossed the plate. Picked on the first ball pitch by Jay Hook and belted it on a line. It barely got into the lower deck, but got in there nonetheless. That is only the 2nd home run of this season for Pinson. But 3 big runs have come in for Cincinnati, and what a moment ago seemed like a fairly comfortable lead has vanished, and Casey Stengel comes out of the dugout and heads for the mound. We had started to say Casey wanted to see Hook get out of the inning because you must pitch 5 innings in order to be credited with the victory officially, but didn't quite work out that way as the lead has vanished here. And they're going to go to the bullpen for Ken McKenzie. He will be coming in to face Frank Robinson. As Jay Hook will go out after having pitched 4 and 2/3 innings. Has been charged with 6 runs, and that's all he can be charged with since he's leaving nobody on here. He's been reached for 7 hits struck out 3 and walked 1. Ken McKenzie is on his way in from the bullpen. So, where it looked a moment ago as though the Mets might be able to protect the lead and go on to get a victory here, now they'll have to battle as though from the start. Since we're back where we started from, the game is all even at 6-6. McKenzie has appeared in 9 games. This is his 10th game appearance. He has pitched 13 innings in which he has allowed only 1 run, 7 hits. He has struck out 13 and walked 1. His earned run average is 0.69. His record 3 victories and no losses. So McKenzie, the alumnus of Yale University, has been the most effective of the Met relief pitchers. Last year, he was the only Met pitcher to post a winning record for the season. He won 5 and lost 4 last season. He came to the Mets from the Milwaukee Braves. Dodgers defeated the Giants 6-5 today. Dick Kalmus got the victory. Jack Fisher took the loss, and I'm sure you know by now that last night the Dodgers not only defeated the Giants and shut them out 8-0, but also it was a no-hit performance by Sandy Koufax, the second of his career. He retired the first 22 men that he faced. He walked only 2 and he struck out 4. So the Dodgers have made it 2 straight over the Giants. Right here, Frank Robertson steps into the batter's box. Nobody on base. McKenzie with a pitch that's in there for a called strike to Robertson. Jammed him a little bit. On the 5th. He's swinging a ground ball to short. Fernandez on a big hop. Over to first in time, and the side is retired. So in the top of the 5th, Cincinnati Reds got 4 runs on 4 hits, no errors, and none left. And at the end of 4.5 innings of play, it's the Cincinnati Reds 6 and the New York Mets 6. We have a pitching change here for the Cincinnati Reds. Right-hander Dom Zani is coming to the ball game. Zani is a native New Yorker, signed initially by the Giants, traded to the Chicago White Sox, and this is his first appearance with the Cincinnati Reds since coming on to Cincinnati. When Jim Brosnan went to the White Sox, Zani came to Cincinnati. He is the 3rd Cincinnati pitcher. Jim Owens started. And he will be facing Choo Choo Coleman. Choo Choo steps in. He's a left-hand batter facing the right-hand pitcher. Gas goes in on the edge of the grass at third base, and here's the pitch. Swung on. It came in there low. He took a cut. It's ball 1. I'd rather strike 1. Larry Burright is swinging bats on deck now. Burright will be batting number 8 in the batting order. Score tied. The Reds 6 and the Mets 6. Dom Zani is an alumnus of James Monroe High School in the Bronx, as is Ed Kranepool. Zani with the pitch swung on and belted foul into the stands. And he takes a moment to smooth out the dirt. He spent last year with the White Sox, won 6, lost 5. Here's a pitch fired low and away. 1-2. Johnny went from the Giants to the White Sox along with pitcher Eddie Fisher and Bob Farley. 4 pitchers Don Larson and Billy Pierce. And now time has been called here, and Frank Robinson comes in from his position in right field to talk to umpire Al Foreman. Robinson has had a thing going with the fans out in right field all afternoon long, and Robinson apparently is asking for a little protection. Actually, during batting practice before the start of today's doubleheader, Robinson was out there sort of bantering back and forth, and now the umpire is asking that the public address announcer ask the fans not to intimidate Robinson any further. So that is what is being done here. You'll hear the announcement in a moment. Robinson is talking to umpire Al Foreman. Ed Sudol, in turn, has come in to talk to umpire-in-chief of this ball game, Stan Landis. He is calling balls and strikes. The senior umpire in the quartet is Tom Gorman, who has not yet entered into this controversy. Public address announcer again. Public address announcer now has warned the fans that if the throwing of objects onto the field continues, the umpires will forfeit the game. Choo-Choo Coleman steps into the batter's box, and we're going to get started here once again at the Polo Grounds. The score is tied, 6-6. Here's a swing and a drive foul into the lower boxes, back at first base. 1-2 to Choo-Choo Coleman. Dominic Sonny in his first appearance in the uniform of the Cincinnati Reds. Well, that at least got the crowd thoroughly aroused. They are not bothering Robinson. Pitch is low for a ball. 2-2. Donnie again with the no wind-up motion, the 2-2 pitch, and it is tight and gets by Gonder and comes on back. So the count is out full at 3-2. Jesse Gonder does not stop everything that's thrown up there. It's a full count to Coleman, 3-2. And the payoff pitch. Swung on and foul back out of play. The count holds full at 3-2. As our Mr. Ralph Kiner will attest, the intimidation of outfielders by crowds is not exactly new in the major league. There are some ballparks where it's considerably tougher than that here. Here is a payoff pitch. Swung on and landed to center field. Going to be in there for a base hit. Beta Fenton over. Comes up with it. Choo-Choo takes a wide turn and holds it first with a single to center. Let's get the leadoff man here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. It'll bring up Larry Burright. Score tied, 6-6. Larry Burright takes a look down at the sign man, Cookie Lavagetta, coaching at third. So let's see if they're going to try to sacrifice him on, just exactly what. At third base, Casco's on the edge of the grass. Here's the pitch. In there for a call strike, and he was not bunting. He wasn't squared. He looks at Cookie Lavagetta again. Burright bats 8th. McKenzie's due up next. Here's a throw over, and it's not in time. The throw is a little high, and Gordon Coleman had to sort of do a little acrobatic movement there to come up with it. Actually, what he did was leave his feet, and it wasn't that high. Johnny comes set. Breaking ball is high. Wasn't squared there either. And it's 1-1. Salihimus relaying the sign now. Be sure that Burright gets it. Cookie Lavagetta relaying it now. They want to be sure that Burright gets the sign. It's a 1-1 pitch coming up. Reds and the Mets tied 6-6 in the second game of the doubleheader at the Polo Grounds. His pitch swung on and missed. He took the full ripple, and it's 1-2. Nobody out for the Mets in the bottom of the fifth. After Landis has brushed off the plate, Burright steps back in. Meanwhile, all seems quiet out in right field with Robinson and his people. And the pitch. Breaking ball swung on. It's a ground ball to third off the glove of Casco. He can't play it, and both runners are safe. Coleman moves to second. Burright's on at first. It's scored as a base hit. A hard smash on the ground down to third, and Casco, playing medium depth, could not play it. It bounded high up into the air and finally was picked up by Cardenas. The Mets have runners first and second, and pitcher Ken McKenzie coming up. So the Reds will certainly anticipate a sacrifice attempt here. McKenzie walks all the way down to talk to third base coach Cookie Lavagetta. Ken McKenzie has been up only 2 times this year. Does not yet have his first hit. Although he is a left-hand pitcher, he bats right-handed. Coleman's on the edge of the grass at first, and so is Casco at third. Runners lead first and second. He squares to bunt, and going on to third is Choo-Choo, and he's out at third base, and the ball is dropped, and he's safe. He was called out, and Casco dropped the ball, and he's safe. The official scorer says stolen base for Choo-Choo Coleman. He was running on the pitch. McKenzie squared the bunt. But then Gonder whipped the ball down to Casco, and Choo-Choo had been called out by umpire Tom Gorman. But then when the ball was dropped by Casco, it was hurriedly changed to safe. The Mets have runners at first and third. With nobody out, that is potential go-ahead run at third. The score is tied 6-6. So let's see what the strategy is here. The count is ball 1 as McKenzie squared, but did not offer, and the pitch missed. He swings and sends a high pop foul back at third. Casco has a play. He's underneath. Burright tags up at first, moves off, does not draw a throw, holds up. Casco runs the ball back to the infield. Runners holding first and third. 1 man out, Chico Fernandez coming up. McKenzie took his full cut. Fernandez has twice been called out on strikes and otherwise walked in this ball game. So the Mets would like to see him get Choo-Choo Coleman in from third some way. Base hit. Fly ball to the outfield. Damzani getting a sign as Fernandez steps in. He's a right-hand batter. He had 2 hits in the first game today. Breaking ball is on the corner for a called strike 1. Johnny really breaks that wrist on the curveball in the delivery. Sort of snaps it off. Burright leads at first, Coleman at third. Ball is bunted down to first baseline, and he has scored, and the throw to first is safe. The ball is dropped, and Burright goes to third as they work the safety squeeze, and all runners are safe. The ball was played over from Coleman to Pete Rose covering at first. A collision there with Choo-Choo Coleman, or rather with Fernandez. Ed Sudol says safe at first base. It was a safety squeeze, and the Mets have gone ahead by a score of 7-6. By safety squeeze, I mean that Coleman was not running until the ball was bunted. It was pushed down the first base line, and then Coleman dashed for the plate. Burright, of course, moved on to second, and it is scored then as a single, a run batted in, and an error on Gordon Coleman on the throw, which allowed Burright to move from second to third. That is where that error comes in, as every base must be accounted for, and Ron Hunt is up. So on the safety squeeze, Fernandez gets credit for a base hit and a run batted in. An error is charged against Gordon Coleman. And here is the pitch that is in there. It's a throw to second, and Fernandez steals the base. Fernandez steals the base as Ron Hunt was squared to bunt. Did not, took the call strike. And Fernandez went sliding in with a stolen base. The Mets have runners at second and third, leading by a score of 7-6. Still only one man out. And the count of strike one to Ron Hunt. Johnny now turns to work straight away, and the Cincinnati Reds have to bring the infield in. Here's a pitch to Hunt. Breaking ball. That's in there for a call, strike two. Hunt hit one straight up in the fourth inning, and it dropped halfway between the mound and the plate as Coleman, Casco, and Gonder all was there, and each thought the other was going to take it. Sort of an Alphonse Gascon thing, and nobody took it. Johnny works. Pitch is high. Pops out of the glove of Jesse Gonder. No advance. 1-2. Well, the Mets had a big lead, so it vanished as the Cincinnati Reds tied at 6-6. Now the Mets have gone ahead again by a score of 7-6. Johnny taking his time here. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball swung on, and there's a foul ball down the line and left, being chased over by Casco. He can't get it. It's in the stands, out of play. And right now, in order to allow our stations to identify themselves, we pause for station identification.
WGY in Schenectady, where you can hear all the games of the New York Mets. Stay tuned to WGY.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at the Polo Grounds. The big banner in the stand says, Hicksville loves the Mets. Here is Ron Hunt in. Pitch is swung on, and there's a fly ball to short right. Tagged up at third is Burright. Robinson in a position to get it. Makes the catch. Burright tags. Here's a throw to the plate. Burright slides safely across the plate. And Fernandez moved from second to third. So you give Ron Hunt a run batted in on the sacrifice fly, and the Mets lead by a score of 8-6 with two men out and Ed Kranepool coming up. Ron Hunt with the fly ball to right. That enabled Burright to tag up and score after the catch, and enabled Fernandez to tag up at second and move to third. So it's a run batted in for Hunt. He is not charged with the time at bat on the sacrifice. Here's Ed Kranepool. In this game, he's had a double and a tremendous triple and 3 times plate. Pitch is low, bounces off the chest protective Gonder. There's no advance as he keeps it in front of him. We'd like to ask the fans here in the ballpark listening on transistor radios please to refrain from throwing objects onto the field. The enthusiasm of the Met fans is a wonderful thing, and we are all for it. But we have been asked to ask you, please, to refrain from throwing objects onto the field. Rainbow swings the bat. Here's the pitch. It's a fastball high and away. 2-0, the count to Craneville. He's pitcher and batter are members of the Alumni Association at James Monroe High School. Slow curveball, it's low. It's 3-0. Johnny of a little earlier vintage than Ed Cranepool. Here's the pitch, and he walked him on 4-pitch ball. Cranepool goes to first. The Mets have runners at first and third. 2 men out, and Duke Snyder coming up. Now the public address announcer, Jack Lee, is passing along a request from manager Casey Stengel to the fans that they refrain from throwing objects onto the field. Pitch is in there for a call strike to Snyder. He has walked, and grounded out, second to first. The Mets again in the lead here by a score of 8-6 after having lost the first game by a score of 3-0. Snyder waits. Johnny with the pitch. Fastball high. 1-1. Chico Fernandez is the base runner at third. Ed Cranepool is the base runner at first. Pitch is swung on and missed. Slow breaking ball. 1-2 to Duke Snyder. Total attendance in this ballpark today, 21,291. Johnny set, runners lead first and third. The pitch is high for a ball. It's 2-2 to the Duke. Tim Harkness waiting on deck for the Mets. Well, you can't say you don't get your money's worth in a Sunday doubleheader at the Polo Grounds. Here's 2-2 pitch. Swung on and foul back. Gonder can't find it. Now he comes, and the ball hits in the track about 2 yards from the backstop and pounds up against it. Gonder couldn't get oriented. And the count is 2-2. Mets have 8 runs on 10 hits. The Reds have 6 runs on 7 hits. Amtani is on a set position. The 2-2 offering. Fastball outside. It's a full count. So the Cranepool at first base can be moving on the pitch now. And Fernandez at third will be alert. Johnny up and set. There goes Cranepool. Slow curve, swung on, goes it deep to right. It's going for a home run. Cincinnati belted that into the lower deck in right field, well down the line, a 3-run homer. He scored Fernandez ahead of him. He scored Cranepool ahead of him. For Snyder, that is the 395th home run of his career. It is his 6th home run of this season. And the Mets are out in front by a score of 11-6. Here's a fastball high to Tim Harkness, left-hand batter. The pitch is low for a ball. It's 2-0. The 11 runs scored by the Mets, the most they've scored in the game this season. Here's a swing and a drive foul up on the rooftop, down the left field line, but a foul ball. 2-1 to Tim Harkness. The 5 runs that the Mets have scored here in the bottom half of the fifth ties the record for their biggest inning, 5 runs, and the 11 runs for the game is the most runs the Mets have scored in a ball game this year. Here's a 2-1 pitch to Harkness, and it's outside, 3-1. Tom Zonti, an alumnus of James Monroe High School in the Bronx, making his first appearance for the Cincinnati Reds and his first appearance ever against the New York Mets, is the victim of this 5-run uprising. So the Mets have not been very hospitable to Zonti on his homecoming. Swing and a miss. It's a full count at 3-2 now to Tim Harkness. Zonti with the payoff pitch. Swung on as a ground ball to first. Fielded on a short up by Gordon Coleman. Tags the bag for the put out, and the inning is ended. The Mets got 5 runs. On 3 hits, there was 1 Cincinnati error and none left. And so at the end of 5 innings of play, it's the Mets 11, the Reds 6. As we go to the top half of the 6th inning, we're going to have a pinch hitter here. Ken Walters is going to bat for Jerry Lynch now that the Mets have a left-hand pitcher in. And it's likely that Walters will stay in the ball game, and if he does, he'll probably go into right, and Robinson will probably move over to left. But we'll find out about that a little later on. Because Ken McKenzie is the pitcher of record in this ball game, trying to save this one for himself. Here's the pitch, and it's in there for a called strike. Swing out a base hit down the third baseline, continuing on out into left field, and it is played by Snyder off the wall to throw to second. Walters going in. He slides in safely. It's a double for Ken Walters. That'll bring up first baseman Gordon Coleman. He's a left-hand batter. In Pittsburgh, the Pirates have taken the second game of a doubleheader from the Cardinals 4-3, so the Cards and the Pirates split. Cards won the first game 2-1 with Taylor winning and Face losing. Pirates won the second game 4-3 with McBean winning and Sadecki losing, and Ted Savage homered in the 8th inning with nobody on for the Pirates. Coleman has been up twice, and he flied out to center field both times. Ken McKenzie with the pitch, and it's whipped in there for a call, strike 1. Chico Fernandez at short, plays Coleman to pull, moving way over toward the bag at second. Jesse Gonder is on deck for the Cincinnati Reds. Here's a swing and a fly ball to left center, and this is going to be an in-betweener. It will score Ken Walters as he rounds third and comes out home, and Gordon Coleman's on his way to third. It is taken by Ron Hunt. He runs the ball back into the infield as Gordon Coleman holds at third. A long drive in between Snyder and Hickman. Roll all the way to the low green wall in front of the left center field bleacher area. So the Cincinnati Reds get one of those runs back right now. They move Coleman to third. There's nobody out, and it's the Mets 11 and the Reds 7. Jesse Gunder coming up. He hit a line shot and was fielded, dropped, picked up, and thrown to first in time to retire him in the third inning by Ron Hunt, and then he singled to center, a line shot out there in the fifth. This swing and a foul ball coming back. There's action in the Met bullpen. Larry Benares is up and throwing. Cincinnati Reds aren't out of the ball game yet. They have a runner at third. Nobody out. Al Worthington's now warming up in the bullpen for the Reds. So stick around. This one's not over yet. That pitch is low and away. 1-1. The Mets had a 5-run lead once before in this ball game. They saw it go glimmering as the score was tied 6-6. There's a swing and a ground ball toward first base. It'll score a run. Harkness can't field it, and Gonder's safe. Harkness, trying to field the slow roller, overran it in his anxiety to pick it up and play it on over to McKenzie. It scored as an error on Harkness. It is a run batted in for Gonder as Gordon Coleman crossed the plate. So the Reds have 2 runs in here in the top half of the 6th inning, and it's now 11-8. Eddie Casco coming up. So the Mets lead is cut to 3 runs now. Pitch is swung on, and it's going deep to right. If it stays fair, but it's going foul into the lower deck. Eddie Casco drilling one down the right field line. Wally Post is out swinging a bat on deck now for the Cincinnati Reds. Eddie Casco waiting. That pitch is inside for ball. 1-1. Still nobody out for the Reds, batting here in the top half of the 6th inning. Jesse Gunn to the base runner at first. Harkness holds against him there. Ken McKenzie with the pitch, and it's low for ball. 2-1. Bernard's still working in the bullpen for the Mets. This is the concluding game of this homestand, and what an exciting homestand it's been. That's a pitch in there for a called strike, 2-2. McKenzie rubs up the ball, looks around. And the pitch. It's low for a ball. 3-2. So we'll have a payoff pitch here from McKenzie to Eddie Casco. Swung on, it's a ground ball to third. Taken by Burright. He can't find the handle. Now throws on. He's out at second base. Gonda sliding in, and Fred Hutchison is running out toward Al Foreman, the umpire, at second. Burright bobbled the ball a moment, then threw on to Hutch as Gonda sliding in is out at second base. And Hutch is protesting, waving his arms. Casco on, of course, after having forced Gonder. Burright to Hunt for the first out of the inning. Hutch is continuing his protestations. Foreman turns and walks away out toward center field, and Hutch is following him. Hops his hands together, hops them together again. Now Foreman turns and walks back toward Hutchison. It was a ground ball smashed towards third, and Burright stopped it, then couldn't find it for a moment, picked it up and threw on to Hunt, and Gonder was sliding in and was called out. Fred Hutchinson still waving his arms as he walks now slowly back toward the dugout. When play is resumed, big Wally Post will be batting for Don Fanny. Post has been up only 7 times this year. He has not had a hit yet. Ken McKenzie has continued to keep warm by firing in the warm-up tosses to catcher Choo-Choo Coleman. Now here's the announcement of Wally Post.
For Cincinnati, starting for Cincinnati, number 29, Wally Post, number 29.
Wally Post is a right-hand batter. Ken McKenzie comes set. Casco leads at first. The pitch is swung on and missed for strike 1. The Mets lead here now by a score of 11-8. Ken McKenzie checks and deals. There's a swing and a miss. Fred Hutchinson was protesting vehemently about that call because it would, if called the other way, of course, have set up a situation of tying run at the plate. Such is not the case at this moment. Kenzie again checks as Casco leads. 2-strike pitch, and he is hit for the pitch ball, and that sets up tying run at the plate, and the man coming up is Leo Cardenas. Wally Post hit by a pitch ball. Again, the announcement. Manager Casey Stengel requests fans not to throw objects onto the field. Cincinnati Reds have Leo Cardenas up. He's been the toughest man of the day. He had a 3-run homer, an inside-the-park home run to account for all 3 runs in the first game. He has had a home run in this game and also a single to drive in a run. He is up there now representing potential tying run at the plate with only 1 man out. Pitch is high and away for ball 1. Casco is the runner at second and Post is the runner at first. Twice in this game, the Mets have had a 5-run lead. They now have a 3-run lead. McKenzie checks him. Pitch to Cardenas is high and away. 2-0. Cardenas has his season's batting average up to 286 right now. McKenzie with the pitch. Swung on and missed. 2-1. Second baseman Pete Rose is on deck for the Reds. McKenzie takes a look around. Choo-Choo checks on the count. It's 2-1. McKenzie with the pitch. High. 3 balls and 1 strike. If Cardenas were to draw the walk, he would represent potential tying run on base. Here's a pitch outside. He walked him. The bases are loaded with one man out, and Casey Single's on the way to the mound. Pete Rose will be coming up. He's a switch hitter. So the old professor, 72-year-old Casey Stengel, is arriving at the mound. Larry Bernard is being waved in from the bullpen. So that will be all for McKenzie. McKenzie actually has pitched 2/3 of an inning, in which he has given up 2 runs on 2 hits. Struck out none and walked 1. Bernard is walking in from the bullpen. And while he does, in order to allow our stations to identify themselves, we'll pause now for station identification. This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at the Polo Grounds. Larry Bernard coming in to make his 5th game appearance. He has pitched 11 innings in which he has given up 5 runs on 8 hits. Only one of those runs was earned. He has no won or lost record. Struck out 2 and walked 2. Earned run average 0.82. Right now, Pete Rose steps in, batting left. Bases loaded. 1 man out, and Larry Bernard starts the motion. Here is the pitch. Swung out and missed for strike 1. Cincinnati Reds have the tying runs on base as the Mets lead by a score of 11-8. Playing the infield at double play depth. Bernard again starts the big motion, and the pitch is swung on, fouled off. 2-strike count. Reggie Otero retrieves the ball, tosses it down over to umpire Stan Landis, who examines it and leaves it in play. Al Worthington still throwing in the bullpen for the Cincinnati Reds. Reds are batting here in the top half of the 6th inning. 2nd game of a doubleheader. The Reds won the 1st game by a score of 3-0 today. So the Mets would like to pull this one out to even the series. This is the concluding game of the current homestand. 2-strike pitch to Rose. Swung on as a foul ball on a play. Back at third. Burritt gives it a run. He can't get to it. It's in the stands. Larry Bernard takes a look around. Getting a sign from Choo-Choo Coleman. Runners leading at 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Here's a pitch, and it's fired low and away. Choo-Choo having to dive out there to make the stop. There's no advance. Eddie Casco's the base runner at 3rd. Wally Post, the base runner at 2nd. Leo Cardenas, the base runner at 1st. Bernard again gets the sign. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Inside, just missed inside. Gave him a breaking ball and just missed. It's 2-2. The big bear Fred Hutchinson pacing up and down in the dugout of the Cincinnati Reds. Manager Casey Stengel in the lower step of the Met dugout, peering intently out onto the field. Nards with the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and has a fly ball deep to left, going way back there, and it is falling in for a base hit. Snyder fields it off the wall. 1 run is scored, 2 runs is scored. Cardenas goes to 3rd. And Pete Rose pulls up with a double. 2 runs in on the left field double by Pete Rose, and it is now 11-10. The Cincinnati Reds have potential tying run at third base, potential go-ahead run at second base. An opposite field fly ball looked for a moment as though it might carry all the way. Took one short off to the wall, and then Duke Snyder had to wait for it to come off the wall before he could play it in. So Veda Benson is coming up, 1 man out. The Mets have seen their 5-run lead dwindle to 4. Casco and Poe scored on the double. Bernard's getting a side from Choo-Choo Coleman. Veda Benson had a home run last time up. Here's a swing and a drive to left field. It'll score 2 runs. Here comes Cardenas. Rounding third and coming on now is Pete Rose. And Veda Benson's on his way to second with a double, and the Reds lead by a score of 12-11. An opposite field line smash right down the left field line. Off the bat of Veda Benson. Scored the 2 runs easily as Benson pulled up at second with the double. And that last run that scored, Pete Rose, was charged against Larry Bernard. So, as the Mets trail here, Bernard is now the pitcher of record. Still only 1 man out for the Reds, and Frank Robinson coming up as they've gone ahead by a score of 12-11. The Reds have batted around. Robinson is the 9th man to come in this inning for the Cincinnati Reds. Robinson swinging a bat. Benson leads off the bag at second. Bernard comes set. Pitch is low and into third, blocked by Coleman. Another ball is put in play. And Tracy Stallard's throwing in the bullpen now for the Mets. Twice today, the Mets have had a 5-run lead, and twice they have seen it go glimmering. Bernard's getting his sign. Here's the pitch to Robinson. And this one is tight, and he's hit by a pitch ball. Robinson goes down to first. Benson remains at second, and coming up is Ken Walters. The 10th man to come up in this inning for the Cincinnati Reds. Walters opened up this inning with a double. He was batting for Jerry Lynch. Runners lead at first and second. Still only 1 man out. Here's a swing and a high foul ball back at third, and Burright might have a play. He's at the edge of the winding track, and he makes the catch. It ran down his sleeve, actually, but he held on to it. Larry Burright made the catch of the foul ball. No advance. And that will bring up left-hand batter Gordon Coleman with 2 men out. Six runs in this inning already for the Cincinnati Reds. Coleman waiting. Pitch is swung on as a ground ball toward Hunt at second base. He's up with it. He throws on over to Harkness in time, and the side is retired. So, the Reds in the top half of the 6th got 6 runs on 4 hits. There was 1 error and 2 men left. And at the end of 5 1/2 innings of play, the score is Cincinnati Reds 12, the New York Mets 11.
And we're going to have a battery change here for
the Cincinnati Reds. Al Worthington has come in to do the pitching. Johnny Edwards has come in to do the catching. Worthington is warming up right now. The Mets will be sending up Jim Hickman to lead off. We still have a lot of baseball to be played here. We're in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Second game of the doubleheader. The Reds won the first game 3-0, and they're leading in this one 12-11. I should imagine that Edwards will bat in Gonder's place in the batting order, since he'll be scheduled to lead off next inning. Here's Hickman up and waiting, and Worthington's pitch is low for a ball. That's the way it's going to be. Edwards is going to bat 7th, and Worthington's going to bat 9th. It's a managerial decision, since he sends the batter in at the same time, he can bat him either way. Pitch is a call strike to Hickman. Jim homered to right field for the first run in this ball game in the second inning, and he singled to drive in a run. The third, he grounded out second to first in the fourth. Here's a check swing, foul ball into the lower deck and right. The Mets trailing for the first time in this game. They led 5-0. The Reds got 2, and the Mets got 1, and so it was 6-2, and then the Reds got 4 to tie it 6-6. The Mets got 5 to lead 11-6, and now the Reds got 6 to go ahead 12-11. By far and away the most free-scoring game of the season here at the Polo Grounds. Swing and a miss. Hickman is struck out by Worthington. And that brings up Choo-Choo Coleman. Worthington has been in 6 games this year. He has no won or loss record. He has pitched 8 in the third innings, in which he has allowed 8 hits and 5 runs. Picked up in the draft by the Cincinnati Reds. Formerly was with the Giants. Swinging a foul ball on the ground, actually off his foot. Fouled it right down off his foot, and it rolled along the first baseline foul. It's strike 1. Choo-Choo taking a little time there. Be sure he's okay. Limping a little bit as he comes back into the batter's box. Noise of the crowd continues unabated here at the Polo Grounds. That pitch is low and inside. 1-1. Larry Burright is on deck for the Mets. It's in there for a call strike. 1-1. Check it, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Choo-Choo Coleman, 1 and 2. Here's a swing and a fly ball, and it's going foul on the upper deck down the right field line. Count holds at 1 and 2 to Coleman. 1 man out and nobody on base. Reds have 12 runs on 11 hits and 1 error. The Mets have 11 runs on 11 hits and 1 error. Al Worthington getting a sign from Johnny Edwards. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Low for a ball. It's 2-2. Mets continue with Tracy Stallard throwing in the bullpen. Here's didn't get something started and want to go to the pinch hitter. Choo-Choo steps out for a moment. Time call. Now he settles back in the batter's box. And here's the 2-2 pitch. He held up Almost swung, but held up, and it's a full count. Johnny Edwards was set to fire it on to Casco at third, but it's a full count now to Choo Choo Coleman. Choo Choo with a wide stance waits. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on as a ground ball. That's going towards second base. Rose fields it, throws on, and he's safe at first base. He beat it out. Choo Choo using his speed to scratch the base hit. Choo Choo Coleman with a ground ball to the right side. Pete Rose handled it cleanly and threw on, but simply not in time to get Coleman, who used his speed to good advantage. Larry Burright is coming up for the Mets. Choo Choo Coleman represents potential tying run on base now for the Mets, as they trail by one, batting here in the bottom half of the sixth inning. You know why Rheingold tastes so good? Well, try tells you why. It tells you that Rheingold is brewed the long, slow, costly away for a flavor that's brisk and bright and clean clear through. Enjoy it, along with the game. Pitch to Burright, and it's low for a ball. Johnny Edwards calls time, goes out to check with pitcher Al Worthington. Gordon Coleman has called time also and gone over. One man out for the Mets here in the bottom half of the sixth. Burright now settling again into the batter's box. Casco even with the bag at third. Right-hander Al Worthington up and set. And the pitch is low for ball two. It's 2-0 to Larry Burright. Burright has a season's batting average of .281. Up in this ballgame one time and had a base hit. He smashed it off the glove of Casco at third base. Again, Worthington is set in the 2-0 pitch. Squared the bunt and took it in there for a called strike. That brought Casco in at a gallop on the grass at third. 2 balls, 1 strike to Larry Burright. Coleman on at first, representing potential tying run. The 2-1 pitch, he's running as a swing and a miss to throw to second base, and he is hung up, starting back. He's caught in the chase, and he is tagged out by Coleman as it goes 2-6-3. 2-6-3. Choo Choo hung up there, and a missed hit and run. Put the brakes on and tried to come back, and was caught in the rundown and tagged out. So there are 2 men out now, nobody on base. And a count of 2-2 to Burright at the plate. Worthington winds and fires, has a swing and a miss, and the side is retired. In the bottom half of the sixth, the Mets got no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and none left. The end of 6 innings of play.
In the 7th inning, Johnny Edwards, who took over behind the plate, replacing Jesse Gander, will be coming up against Larry Bernard. New York trailing by a score of 12-11. You couldn't find a game more in contrast to the way the games have been running on this homestand. Mets had a string of 5 straight wins, in which they won 4-2, 3-1, 3-2, 3-2, and 3-2. But this one has been something else. Johnny Edwards was behind the plate in the first game today and had 1 hit in 4 times up. For those of you joining us late, the Reds won the opener 3-0 on the strong pitching of Bob Perkey, with Bill Henry getting the final out in the 9th inning. Cincinnati, 12 runs, 11 hits, 1 error. New York, 11 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. Now the pitch thrown to Johnny Edwards. He takes 1 ball and no strikes. Larry Bernard out of his windup. The pitch, a slow curve. It misses ball 2, 2-0. Well, in the second game today at Fenway Park, rookie pitcher Dave Moorhead gave up a home run to Chuck Hinton in the first inning. That was the only hit he gave up in the entire game. Fastball over, a call strike. The Red Sox defeated Washington 4-1 in the nightcap of the doubleheader to split the twin bill. Their first game went 14 innings, and their doubleheader is over. Taken high, 3-1 now by Johnny Edwards. The Yankees won a single game from Baltimore, 2-0 on a two-hit shutout by Jim Bouton. Washington and the Red Sox split. Washington won the first one in 14, 3-2. Red Sox in the nightcap 4-1 on the one-hitter by Moorhead. Now the 3-1 pitch, and it's whacked foul. Back upstairs and out of play. Kansas City shaded Minnesota 2-1, Wickersham besting Perry, and then they had their second game rained out. The White Sox trying to win a doubleheader. They beat Los Angeles 14-2 in the first game, and they lead 6-4 at the end of 6 in the second game. Cleveland beat Detroit 9-3. Now the 3-2 pitch, he holds up, and it's high, ball 4. So Larry Bernard has walked the first man up in the 7th inning, Johnny Edwards. And on to hit now will be the third baseman, Eddie Casco. Dodgers really got right back in the thick of the pennant fight in the early part of the season by sweeping their series from the San Francisco Giants. Pitch is over to Eddie Casco for a call strike. Twice in the game, the Mets enjoyed a 5-run lead, but it didn't last long. Reds with 2 big innings, 4 runs in the 5th, and 6 runs in the 6th. He holds up just off the outside corner. 1-1 on Eddie Casco. Off the glove of Larry Bernard enough to change the direction of the ball, and Fernandez had to go back the other way, grab it, and then hurry his throw. Edwards moving over to second, and now Worthington is up to hit for the first time. Now Larry Bernard up in the stretch. Pitches over, a strike on the outside corner. Al Worthington has been up only twice this year. He really plants those feet wide apart. He's a right-hand hitter. He lays off, and the slider is off the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. This game, the second game of the doubleheader, got underway about 5:30. Now Ron Hunt makes a run on Johnny Edwards. The 1-1 delivery, a check swing, foul ball off to the right, no play. Very comfortable here. It actually seems warmer now than it did about 2 hours ago. Now Larry Bernard eyes the runner, and the pitch to Worthington, a slow grounder down the third baseline. It'll go foul. Foul ball. So Worthington, running now and out, will have to return to the plate. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. One and 2 now on Al Worthington. Casey has had 3 pitchers in the ball game, and Freddie Hutchinson has used 4 pitchers. Now the 1-2 pitch. A ground ball hit toward the hole. Fernandez will have to throw from deep. The long throw, safe at first base. The low throw in the dirt was knocked down by Harkness, but he couldn't come up with it. And it'll be an error charged on Chico Fernandez. Boy, he had a tough play, I'll tell you that. He had to go deep in the hole to come up with it, throw all in the same motion and get a lot on the throw. The throw was low. Harkness got his glove on it, but couldn't hold it, and so the Reds have 2 men on. It's scored as an error, and Worthington is on. Runners on first and second. Now the hitter is Leo Cardenas. He's had a big day. In comes the pitch to Cardenas. Over at the knees, strike one call. Cardenas drove in all 3 runs in the opening game win for Cincinnati with a 3-run homer. It was an inside-the-park home run. In this game, he has homered and singled and driven 2 runs in. So it's a 5 RBI day for Leo Cardenas. Now the pitch by Benarth. Curve off the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now 2 runners take a lead. And a pitch to Cardenas, a swing and a miss on a fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now the pitch on the way. A pop-up outside first. Harkness moves over. He's under it and makes the catch. Larry Benarth made a good pitch. He hit Cardenas, ran off the fist with a fastball, a jammer. And he popped the ball up, and now the hitter is Pete Rose. Rose has been on base 3 times in a row with a walk and a couple of extra base hits. Pete Rose hitting at .282. Reds 12 and the Mets 11. Inside at the knees, 1 ball and no strikes. Veda Penson has driven in 5 of the 12 runs scored by the Reds. Leo Cardenas and Pete Rose have 2 each. Frank Robinson, Gordy Coleman, and Jesse Gonder each have driven in 1. Fastball inside, ball 2, 2-0 on Pete Rose. Rose batting left-handed against Larry Benarth. He's a switch hitter. He went 2 for 5 in the opening game, and he's 2 for 3 in this game. Now Benarth up in pitching position. Delivers to the plate. It breaks off the glove of Choo-Choo Coleman, and the runners moving up to second and third. Johnny Edwards crosses over to third, and the pitcher, Al Worthington, moves to second. It'll be a pass ball charged to Choo-Choo Coleman. Now Benarth is behind on Pete Rose, 3-0. Larry has given up only 1 of the 12 runs scored by Cincinnati. That 1 run could make him the losing pitcher unless the Mets can come from behind. Runners on second and third, full windup, and the pitch inside, ball 4 to load him up for Veda Penson. Penson already has a hatful of RBIs in this game. He hit a 3-run homer in the 5th inning and doubled, driving 2 runs in his last time up in the 6th inning. Penson 4 for 4, 2 singles, a double, and a home run, and 5 RBIs. You don't have many days like that. He has raised his batting average 27 points in this game. Now Benarth into his windup. The pitch to Penson, a fly ball to right center field. Eddie Cranepool moving over. He's under it. Makes the catch. Side is out. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 3 left on. And now at the end of 6 1/2 innings to score, the Cincinnati Reds 12 and the New York Mets 11. Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner, last half of the 7th inning. Nightcap of a doubleheader. Cincinnati trying to win 2, Mets trying to get a split. And they trail by 1 as they come up against Worthington. Larry Benarth is a good hitter, and Casey will let him come on to bat. Now Worthington into his windup. Down comes his pitch. The ball is bunted off the mound comes Worthington. He throws hard to first in time to Gordy Coleman getting Larry Bernard. Larry trying to bunt for a base hit to represent the tying run, but the ball went too direct toward the mound. Now the top of the batting order for Chico Fernandez. Chico has one hit. He bunted for a base hit to get a run home in the 5th inning. Low, it's ball 1. It was a squeeze bunt that brought a run in, and Fernandez beat it for a base hit. Veteran right-hander Al Worthington pitching for the Reds. For Worthington, this is his 2nd inning of work. Ground ball hit hard down to 3rd. Up with it, Eddie Casco. He begs to Gordy Coleman, 2 men down. Two outs and nobody on. Now here is Ron Hunt. Ron knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly his last time at bat. Ron has 1 hit and 2 times up. He also has drawn a walk. Inside of the knees, 1 ball and no strike. Drive in the air to center field. Benson under it waiting. He has it and the side is out. He barely had to move to take that one. A line drive hit right to him. In the 7th inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. Al Worthington, in 2 innings of relief now, has allowed no runs and given up just an infield hit. At the end of 7, the score, the Reds 12 and the Mets 11. Frank Robinson leading off against Larry Bernard in the 8th inning, and it's ball 1. In that second game at Comiskey Park, the White Sox have been tied up by the Angels. Good curve that's over by Larry Bernard. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Angels got 2 in the 7th inning to tie it. It's now 6-6. The White Sox are hitting in the last of the 9th inning with a chance to win and sweep a doubleheader. The 1-1 pitch. A change-up foul back over the press box into the upper deck. Single game, Cleveland 9, Detroit 3. Sam McDowell going all the way on a 6-hitter to win. Nobody on, nobody out. We're in the 8th inning, 12-11. Cincinnati in front. Soft fire, inside and low. Larry Bernard came on to replace Ken McKenzie in the 6th inning. Pitch to Robinson is foul. Back into the screen, no play. Frank Robinson hitless and 3 times up. He was hit by a pitch his last time at bat. He was also nicked by a pitch in the first game. He had 1 for 2 and a walk. He stands right on top of the plate. Mets in the outfield, playing rather deep and around toward left. The 2-2 delivery. Strike 3. Robinson started to go, held up, and it was over. Larry Bernard posting his first strikeout. Now the hitter is Ken Walters. Walters replaced Jerry Lynch in left field, and he has 1 hit and 2 times up. It was a double. Foul ball off, no play. Ken Walters played in the outfield for San Diego last year as they won the Coast League pennant. He had a good year, batted an even 300. Now the pitch. Slow curve, lined up. A beautiful changeup by Larry Bernard. He broke out that changeup against Willie Mays and the San Francisco Giants when he hurled it. 7 innings in relief against the Giants without giving up an earned run. Breaking ball outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. on that slow curve and struck him out. First baseman Gordy Coleman has one hit in 4 times up, and that was a run-scoring triple. Slow curve inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Now the pitch time enough. Goes to a fastball. It's inside. Ball 2, 2-0. Line drive hit hard. A base hit right down the left field line. Racing over to make a play on it now is Duke Snyder. Coleman is going into second. Standing up with a 2-base hit. That is the 3rd hit off Larry Bernard. All 3 have been extra base hits. It'll bring up Johnny Edwards batting for the 2nd time in the game. He drew a walk his first time up in the 7th. Each team now has a dozen hits in the game. The Reds lead 12-11. Cincinnati twice in the game, storming from behind to overcome a 5-run lead. Ground ball on the right side. Hunt runs it down to his glove side, throws to first. He's out. Real good play by Ron Hunt. He got that one in the hole on the right side of the infield. He was running at full speed to his glove side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on. Now at the end of 7.5 innings to score, the Cincinnati Reds 12 and the New York Mets 11. Last of the 8th inning, and the Mets will have the heart of their batting order coming up against Al Worthington. Worthington, veteran 205-pound right-hander, who last year was 15-4 at Indianapolis. Eddie Cranepool has double driving in a run and tripled, a tremendous triple to deep right center field, about a 430-foot clout to drive in a run. So Eddie has 2 for 3 and has drawn a walk, driven 2 runs in. Worthington winds and pitches. Foul ball back to the upper deck and out of play. Pitch thrown outside. Two and one the count now on Eddie Cranepool. Duke Snyder will be hitting next, and then Tim Harkness. Reds have the infield pulled around to right. Pete Rose back on the rim of the outfield grass against Eddie Cranepool. Frank Robinson playing deep in the outfield. Inside and low, ball 3. 3-1 now on Cranepool. Now Eddie gets out of the batter's box to check with Cookie Lavagetto on the lines at third. Ball 4, and the tying run is on. That brings up Duke Snyder. Well, the Duke connected for a long home run to right center field in the 5th inning with 2 men on base. Snyder has walked twice. He scored 2 runs in the game, and officially 1 for 2, a 3-run homer. Now Worthington into the stretch. Here's the pitch to Snyder. Ball 1, it's low. Coleman holding against Ed Greenfield at first. Now the pitch. And it's high, ball 2. Crowd starting to pick up momentum now as the Mets have the tying run on, nobody out. Last half of the 8th inning. At one time, the Mets led 5-0. At another time, they led 11-6. But Cincinnati scored 6 runs in the 6th inning and owns the lead 12-11. This is over for a call strike. Duke took it, and the count goes to 2-1. Duke, with his 3-run homer, hiked his RBI total to 15. Pitching 2-1. Inside and low, ball 3. Now Worthington has a 3-1 count on Snyder. Now we have a little stirring around in the Cincinnati dugout, and I think they want Bill Henry to start warming up. He came on to face Snyder in the 9th inning of the opening game. Now the pitch. Ball 4, it was way inside. The tying run goes to second, and coming on to hit will be Tim Harkness. Tim has 1 hit. A run-scoring base hit, a drive off the wall in right field in the 3rd inning in 4 times at bat. Jim Hickman is on deck, and then Choo-Choo Coleman. Now let's see how the Mets play. We're going to get a pinch runner. Al Moran will run for Dick Snyder. Good game for the Duke. He was on base 4 times out of 5 trips to the plate. He drew 3 walks and he hit a 3-run homer. Now the Reds are looking for the bunt with Harkness batting. Runners on first and second. Here's the stretch by Worthington and the pitch. He didn't square around and he takes low, ball 1. That second game at Comiskey Park in Chicago has ended 9 innings, tied up 6-6. They go to the 10th inning. Here's the pitch. A line drive may go foul down the right field line, and it is a foul ball. Foul by not very much, and it reached the wall. It was really stung by Tim Harkness. One ball, 1 strike now to Harkness. Many times in a bunt situation, if you have a real good fastball hitter up there, the manager will let him swing away because in a bunt situation, the pitcher just about has to throw a fastball. The 1-1 delivery, he's around the bunt, and falling down now is the pitcher Worthington. Everybody is safe. Worthington fell down coming off the mound, and it goes as a base hit. The bases are loaded, nobody out. Well, the Mets got a great break on that one. Ball bunted between the mound and third baseline. Worthington coming off of there as fast as he could, hoping for a play at third. But before he reached the ball, lo and behold, his feet went out from under him. The bases are loaded, nobody out, and the hitter is Jim Hickman. And the fans are on their feet, waving their arms, yelling, "Go!" Out of it. In the dirt, all 1. They're really hooping it up now. Bases loaded, nobody out. Mets trailing 12-11, last half of the 8th inning. Now Worthington looking into Edwards to get his sign. Swings into his windup. Here's the pitch. A check swing and a foul ball. Back toward our broadcasting booth and out of play. One ball, 1 strike now on Jim Hickman. In comes the pitch. A fly ball hit high in the air to left field, but not too deep. Tagged up is Greenpool. The catch is made. Here comes Greenpool digging for the plate. It'll be close. Safe. Game tied up, 12-12. Hickman has tied the game with a fly ball to left field. It wasn't too deep, and the left fielder, Ken Walters, made a real good throw. Greenpool had to slide to get home safely. Now the hitter is Choo-Choo Coleman. One away, runners on first and second. Choo-Choo has 2 for 3 in the game. Singled to left center and beat out an infield hit. He's lightning fast. Now the stretch. Pitch by Worthington. Off the outside corner. 1 ball and no strikes. Larry Burright, the third baseman, is the on-deck hitter. Mets have their first run in off Al Worthington. Worthington working in his third inning of relief. Here's the pitch. Foul ball. He ripped a curve and it goes foul. He was way out in front. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now Casey has sent the sign down to Ernie White to warm up Tracy Stallard. Bill Henry warming up for Cincinnati. The second game in Philadelphia is tied up, and they go to extra innings, tied 5-5. Here's the pitch. Choo-Choo lets it go. It's high. Ball 2, 2-1. First game today in Philadelphia went 11 innings with the Phillies winning it 4-3. Right here we're tied up 12-12, if you can imagine. Pitching 2-1. Swing and a miss. And it's 2-2 on Choo-Choo Coleman. Al Worthington walked Eddie Greenpool and Duke Snyder. Al Moran came in to run for Duke. Tim Harkness, bunting, got a base hit. But Worthington slipped and fell coming off the mound. And Hickman tied the game with a sacrifice fly to left field. Right here, Choo-Choo is trying to put New York in front. Now the stretch by Worthington. Pitching 2-2. A fly ball to short right field may drop in. It does for a base hit. The run around third. He'll try and score. The throw is going to third. He is out at third, but the run is in. And now Choo-Choo's trying to get to second. He goes. He's safe at second base. Choo-Choo caught him napping, and he went on to second. Al Moran comes home on the base hit by Choo-Choo. Beta Pinson made a rifle peg to Casco, and they had Tim Harkness by a wide margin. But then Coleman, after rounding first and noticing that they were napping for an instant after getting the out at third base, broke and went to second base. So Choo-Choo had third hit of the game. His first run batted in. The Mets now lead 13-12. Now Larry Burright is coming back to the dugout. Frank Thomas is around the bat rack. Or maybe it's Cliff Cook. We'll wait a moment to see. It's going to be Cliff Cook coming out, and he'll hit for Larry Burright. In the last half, or rather in the top half of the ninth inning, the Reds will have Eddie Casco batting eighth in the order, leading off. Now Cliff Cook is hitting for Larry Burright with Choo-Choo Coleman on second. Casey hoping that he can pick up an insurance run here in the last of the eighth inning. The Mets have come from behind and regained the lead, and they're going to intentionally walk Cliff Cook. Larry Bernard is the on-deck batter, and he's a pretty good hitter. But Frank Thomas is around the bat rack. Tracy Stallard has been warming up in the bullpen. The Mets have had 8 different men drive runs in this ball game. Choo-Choo Coleman singling to right field to drive in the 13th run of the game to put the Mets in front. Now Frank Thomas will hit for Larry Bernard. We'll have a new pitcher, Tracy Stallard, coming out in the ninth inning. First base was open, and so Cincinnati gave the intentional walk to Chris Cook. Now Frank Thomas comes on to hit. Right now, the Mets have 13 runs, 14 hits, and 2 errors. Cincinnati 12 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error. Thomas, the 7th man up in the inning. Now we're set to go. Worthington is on the mound. Here's the pitch. And his curve is over. Strike 1 call. Here in the 8th inning, Jim Hickman drove in the tying run, and Choo-Choo Coleman has driven across the leading run. Now the pitch on the way. Ground ball bounced to short. Big hop taken by Cardenas to peg to first in time, and the side is out. Side out in the 8th inning, but New York scored 2. On 2 hits. No errors, and 2 left on. At the end of 8 innings, the score now is the New York Mets 13 and the Cincinnati Reds 12. In the 9th inning, Eddie Casco will be leading off against Tracy Stallard. Don Blasingame has come out on deck. He'll be batting for the pitcher, Al Worthington, and then Leo Cardenas. So Tracy Stallard, a flamethrower, will be up against Eddie Casco, Don Blasingame, and Leo Cardenas. Tracy Stallard will be in his 9th ball game as he takes the mound. Tracy has won none, lost 3. And if Tracy can protect the lead here in the 9th inning, the victory would go to Larry Bernard, his first major league win. Larry Bernard came in the game in the 6th inning, relieving Ken McKenzie. Larry pitched 2 and 2/3 innings. Now it's the 9th inning, 13-12. Hold on to your hats. Stallard out of his windup. Here's the pitch, and his fastball is too high. 1 ball and no strikes. Eddie Casco has gone hitless in 4 times up. He's a right-hand hitter. And it's outside and high, ball 2. Don Rowe warming up in the bullpen. Let's see, Galen Cisco jogging down toward the bullpen. He worked 6 innings without giving up an earned run in the opening game of this doubleheader that started back at 2 o'clock. Now we're waiting for a moment while Stan Landis polices up the area just a little bit. (13-12), that's in front. Now the 2-0 pitch. Strike on the outside corner, 2-1. Larry Bernard in 2 2/3 innings allowed 1 run, gave up 3 hits, walked 2, and struck out 2. Fly ball in the air to center field. Hustling in Jim Hickman. He's under this one and makes the catch. 1 man down. 1 away now in the 9th inning. On to hit will be veteran Don Blasingame. Before he steps in, let's step out for station identification.
WGY Schenectady. A bulletin from the WGY newsroom. President Kennedy tonight ordered the alerting of military forces and preliminary steps to call out the Alabama National Guard to cope with renewed racial rioting in Birmingham, Alabama. The chief executive also dispatched federal negotiators back to the troubled Alabama city, and he appealed for the citizens of Birmingham themselves to make outside intervention unnecessary. But Kennedy said, this government will do whatever must be done to preserve order, protect lives, and uphold the law.
Freddie Hutchinson also has used 4 pitches. Now Stallard winding. Pitched to Blasingame, a curve inside and low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Don Blasingame has been up only 25 times this year, collected 4 hits. Last year, he was the regular second baseman for Cincinnati, but for the time being, at least, has lost his job to a fine-looking rookie, Pete Rose. One ball, one strike on blasting game. Pitch thrown by Stallard. He has to jump back to avoid being hit by that one, and the count 2-1. Blasting game is hitting for Worthington. Now Stallard out of his wind-up. His pitch, foul ball, back to the screen, and now it's 2-2 on blasting game. The New York Mets, 8 different players have knocked in 1 run or more. Jim Hickman and Duke Snyder have each driven in 3. Eddie Cranepool 2. Harkness, Cannell, Fernandez, Hunt, and Coleman 1 each. Lowe, all 3. Now the string is out, 3-2 on the pinch batter, down blasting game. Pitching 3-2. He walked him, and the tying run is on. Now hold your breath. Top of the batting order for Leo Cardenas. Cardenas, a single and a home run in 4 trips to the plate and 2 RBIs. Tim Harkness holding against the runner. Here's the pitch on the way. A towering top fly to the infield. Calling for it, Al Moran. Now Fernandez waves him off. Who's going to take it? And it's taken by Al Moran in foul territory. And there are 2 away in the 9th inning. Now Pete Rose is the hitter. Rose has been on base 4 times out of 5 in this one with a single and a double and a pair of walks. Now speedy Pete Rose batting left against Tracy Stallard. 2 down in the 9th inning. Tying run is on first. That's down blasting game. Here's the pitch by Stallard. Fastball over, a strike called, and he really reached back on that one. Now Stallard looking in to check with Choo-Choo. In comes the pitch, and a balk. A balk is called on Tracy Stallard. That puts the tying run in scoring position. Pitch was a good one. It was a strike that was missed, but a balk was called on Stallard, and the tying run goes into scoring position. You could also jet. One strike count on Pete Rose. Now blasting game is on second. He's the tying run in a 13-12 battle. Stallard up in pitching position. Now fires. Curve is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike. Beta Pinson is the on-deck batter here in the 9th. Now Stallard into that slow stretch, makes the stop. Now the pitch, too high, ball 2. Curve really broke high that time, and the count 2-1. Ball game hanging right in the balance here. 2 down in the 9th inning. Blasting game is on second base. He moved over on the balk. Now Stallard into the stretch. The 2-1 pitch. Blazing fastball inside and low, ball 3. Beta Pinson, who has 4 for 5, 2 singles, a double, and a home run, is the on-deck hitter. So Stallard has a mighty big pitch to make right here. 3-1, he's behind the hitter. In comes the pitch. Strike 2 call, the fastball in there. And now it's 3-2. Stallard staring in. Now he has his sign. Here we go. Here's the pitch. Strike 3 called again above it. The Mets win 13-12. A blazing fastball by Tracy Stallard gets the inside edge of the plate, and the Mets have won the nightcap. The game is split in the 4-game series and in today's doubleheader, and they wind up their homestand with a record of 8 wins and 5 losses.